Here we are, another episode of Writing Daily. Welcome. I am Devin. Today we're going to be talking about the F word and how important it is to you. It's not what you think, so bear with me. But so you know, I am Devin Galaudet, the editor-in-chief of In the Know Traveler. I have an MFA in creative writing, and I am the author of the forthcoming book, 10,000 Miles with My Dead Father's Ashes. So every day we get together and talk about writing. We talk about writing better, whether it is to your a note to your grandmother, or whether it is your fantastic novel that the rest of us are be waiting to read. So whatever it is, hopefully we're going to cover some subjects. For whatever reason, some sort of insanity, I've decided to do this every single day. And for the most part, I've kept my word. I'm not perfect, but every day I show up, I turn this thing on, I start talking about a particular subject. And as always, feel free to click in the box, say hello, let me know what's going on, where you're from, and like and subscribe and do all those different things regardless of what channel you see me on. Whether we are live or not, I answer everybody's questions. So that said, we are writing today about the F word, and it's not what you think. It is fortitude. Basically, what's happened is, for me, like on a really personal level, last night at about 1:30 in the morning, I sent my second pass of revisions back to the editor of my publishing company. Not my publishing company, but the publisher that I'm working with on this book. And so I turned it in, and I realized that looking back at that step of releasing it yet again was like a hard and scary and challenging one, but a necessary one. It's like one of the many links in the chain in order to get your writing accomplished. So just to look back, is, what I've done up to this point was I wrote a story, then I edited the story. Then I edited just between me, myself, and I probably 4 or 5 times. Then I sent it to somebody that I paid to do some line editing. Then I looked at it again and did some more revisions, more line editing by somebody else. Then I got feedback from other people in terms of developmental ideas, things like that, people who were also editors, and I compiled all those notes, went through the book one last time of revisions, and then started sending it out to agents. Agents, for the most part, you have to understand, they're in business to make money. They don't really care if you are the next Dostoevsky. They don't care if you are Hemingway. They're there to represent books they believe, and with almost certainly are going to make money. That's what they're after. We may not love this idea, but it's the truth. So I got rejected a lot by an awful lot of editors, and I hated that idea. I hated the idea of getting rejected because I worked really hard on the manuscript. And so what I had to start looking at was not that I'm trying to get an editor and it's an endless process. I had to look at it as I'm researching an editor, I'm researching an agent who I think is going to be a winner for me. Then I'm going to send out the query letter that is going to be tailored to them, where I can kind of at least say, hey, I know you somehow. I'm familiar with your work. I'm familiar with who you represent. And I've done a little bit of due diligence in terms of reading what their submission guidelines are. I got no's all the time, and I got beautiful, beautiful compliments as well on my writing. I had one editor, I keep saying editor, a huge agent said, hey, I love your book, I love your work, I love your writing, I love your dialogue, I love all this stuff, and I'm not representing you, good luck, but keep trying. And the only way I can really come back to that is understand that if they don't know me, if I'm not the next David Hasselhoff or somebody in a presidential cabinet or something where I can say I'm absolutely going to be able to sell 20 or 50,000 books, that's not their type priority is going to be, something else. And so this has happened a number of times, but this is where fortitude comes in, is that at some point, not only do you have to write your story, you have to believe in your story, not a little bit, but a huge, huge, endless amount. So when you're writing, you have to really put forth whatever effort you need to make it so great that if nobody else loves it, you love it, because that will give you the sense of well-being to continue to send it out. And by the way, this fortitude is, it's not just sort of like for me. What I did was, and I've talked about this a lot, is that, oh, hey, Cecilia, how are you doing? So what I ended up doing is I surrounded myself with people who were going to support my endeavor. That meant when I called them up and said, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm done with the despair of trying to find an agent or a publisher. Eventually what I got back was, no, you know what? I know somebody else. Try this. I know some other person over here and there. And so eventually what I ended up doing was finding a publisher through a friend, somebody I was in regular contact with, who literally went out of her way to say, hey, are you sending out your manuscript this week? And my response was, no, I think I'm going to throw myself in front of a bus instead. And she was like, no, don't do that. Have faith in your book. Because I did. Like, I believe in the story. I believe I worked hard on it. And I think you're going to love it. But that's neither here nor there. Is that whether you do or you don't, it was still my responsibility to go after it and do the very best that I can to keep bringing that along and keep writing and keep doing it, even though it was something that was scary and sometimes it felt a little demoralizing, but it was something ultimately I had to keep going after over and over again. So I was going to say that, you know, if there's one takeaway from this, is that think in terms of fortitude. Think in terms of, regardless of what's happening on the outside world, that you're going to keep moving forward. And when I say moving forward, talk about baby steps. That's sort of like, I think, probably the strongest way to approach this whole thing is, if you're going to be sending out your book, if you're going to be writing your book, is that you don't think about it in terms of, oh, I need to write, 50 to 75,000 words. Think of it as, I need to write one great sentence next, and then write that sentence. And even if you don't like it, work on the next great sentence, because you'll go back and edit it anyway. And if you don't, somebody else will. Just understand that all of these things that you're doing are going to go into the larger process, the larger links in the chain, so to speak. And so, I'm at this point now where, yes, the book is going to be a reality. I'm going to keep doing this because I have other writing projects that I'm working on right now, because you write a book, great, and now you write more books. Because there's lots to say, there's lots of subjects to cover. And so whether you believe it or not, know that I know that you can do it, because if I can do it, anybody can do it. But there would have been no way for me to be able to continue doing it if I didn't surround myself with great people who were on my team, and that I didn't break it down into more bite-sized pieces. Because the overwhelm of find a book publisher, get your book sold, market the heck out of it, they're all big, giant, scary things. But what I can do is I can put it on social media. That's easy. That takes me 5 minutes. Writing another paragraph or another sentence, I just set the egg timer for 5 or 10 minutes and I go after it. If I want an agent, then I write my letter to that agent. If I don't know who the agent is yet, then I do a little bit of research, find who does memoir or short stories or young adult, whatever it is. Just go find that person and then go after the people who do that thing one at a time. Because really, at some point, all you need is one yes. And that's the thing. Like right now, I got, out of all the query letters, I got 2 yeses. We'll talk about that maybe another time. But I have one yes that really counts. And that's all happening September 18th, 2018. That said, if you like what we're doing, hit the like button, subscribe to me. Again, I do this every day. So if you don't like this topic or you don't like tomorrow's topic, we're going to be doing another topic that will help you become a better writer. Break the stuff into small bite-sized pieces so you can finish your short story collection or your book or write your poetry or whatever it is that you want to do. So subscribe, follow me, do all that kind of fun stuff so we can reach out. And always, always, always feel confident in leaving a message, because whether you're watching me live or not, I'm going to answer everybody's question as best I can. And if you've got a real great question, then I am going to make a podcast on it. And I finally got the technology stuff. This is a little bit of housekeeping. Finally got the technology stuff in order, and I will start having more guests on this show so they can tell you about their process, their writing, their likes, dislikes, and the hurdles that they have had to overcome. So that's what we've got for today. I'm looking forward to see you all again real soon, which will be tomorrow, probably around 1-ish. And I hope to talk to you then. Thanks.